Good evening, one and all, and we have just about made it. The gremlins are once again not on our side with the technology, but hopefully we've got it sussed, so we're not going to waste any more time and we're just going to get straight into it. Thank you very much for your patience, all of those of you who've tuned in and have been waiting for this very, very exciting interview. Right, let me do a very quick introduction so we don't waste any more time. There are some perfumers in the business whom you can introduce simply by going through a list of their most famous creations, because no other information is necessary really. And that is the case with tonight's very, very exciting guest. So first of all, we have the entire collection from Acro, the brand which he helped create with his daughter and her husband. But we also have, are you ready for this? This list, for which he is either solely responsible or co-responsible: Dior Dune Pour Homme, Kenzo Jungle Pour Homme, Dior Midnight Poison, Yves Saint Laurent Elle, Penhaligon's Juniper Sling, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, and easily one of the most influential perfumes of the late 20th century, Mugler Angel. Perfume is completely a part of his identity. He was born in Grasse. Several members of his family are perfumers. His father and grandfather were in the industry. He lives and breathes the stuff, which is why we are so very fortunate to have us with him in the studio today to talk about his life and career. So please welcome none other than Monsieur Olivier Cresp. Welcome.
Thank you, Darius. Thank you for your comments. You make me red with a red face. You know, I'm quite embarrassed when you're.
But you deserve it. You deserve it. I didn't say anything that's not true. Now, thank you so much for giving up the time tonight, Olivier. I know that you are coming to us from the rain and the mists and the clouds of Normandy. We are going to talk a lot about Acro, but I have to start by asking you this. When was the last time that you were walking in the street and you smelled somebody wearing Angel?
Well, it's a very good question, Darius, because it was yesterday morning. You know, I was in the airport going to Italy, and you know, I was still a bit asleep, and it was nice to cross someone which was wearing, you know, Angel. Because you can't miss it because it's so diffusive, you know. So.
And how do you feel? How do you? Because I didn't. You know, we haven't planned these questions, right, folks? I had no idea what Olivier was going to say. I was hoping you would say like yesterday or today, because I'm sure you must smell it so much. How does it feel to still be smelling this creation on people that you made quite some time ago now?
Yes, exactly. That is, in fact, it's a bit strange and weird because, you know, in the 90s, 92, when I created Angel, most of the women, they were between, let's say, 20 to 40 years old. But what is nice, I have to say, it's weird, but it's nice as well, because I'm crossing people on the sidewalk, and they are, you know, they are about 60, even 70 years old, and then still enjoying Angel, and I'm so proud, and I smile to myself. You see, I'm continuing to walk, and I say, okay, well, I mean, it's a strange world, because you know, I had a kind of profile while I was creating Angel, but you know, it's perfect, you know, on any skin, on any people, and I laugh because it's still. And I'm proud also because it's still a huge success all over the world.
Absolutely. I mean, there are not many perfume success stories that are bigger. But I'm sure there will be lots of questions about Angel, and I'm sure those of you watching, don't forget, we always like to know where it is that you're watching from. So if you have a question to ask, please feel free to type it in there. And I should also say, before I forget, and I will mention this again, if you go to Persolaise.com, at the end of this broadcast, you will see a blog post which will give you details of how you can win a full bottle of your choice from the Acro range. But you have to go to persolaise.com to check out the latest blog post. And please, 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 can I stress that the competition is open only to people who can provide an address in the UK. So apologies to those of you who are outside the UK. On this occasion, we could do it UK only, but my thanks to Akro Fragrances for making this possible. So we should start by talking about Acro, your latest, and I suppose in a way most personal baby, because you have made it with your baby. So how did it go? Did your daughter and her husband come to you and say, we want to do a brand, or did you always think that you wanted to create an independent brand? How did it happen?
Well, in fact, we tried, let's say, several years ago. I think it was 7 years ago, to think about launching our brand with Anaïs. But we said we have to find a really strong concept, you see. And I mean, the concept I found at the beginning was quite normal, nothing exceptional. It was about my life in grass when I grew up, surrounded by rose, jasmine. But that concept has been done, you know. And while Anaïs was working and living in London, you know, with Jack, her husband, once she called me. I remember it was 5 years ago. And she said, Dad, that's it. I got the concept. It's an amazing new concept, you know. It's something that no one else in the world has done it. It's quite polarizing for sure. But I mean, we can start maybe to create some fragrances if you are able to work on figurative ideas, you see. And I said to Anaïs, well, look, you know, my perfumery is based only on figurative. You know, I'm not working on abstract. And I said, yeah, okay, I could work for you. Let's say cannabis. I could work, you know, something also like cigarette or tobacco. But I will never be able to reproduce the smell of people gambling at the casino or also you know, working hard workers. That is impossible because it's too abstract. So we said, okay, I mean, we can I can do, let's say, between 10 to 15 fragrances easily based on addictions and even vices, because it's addictions and vices, you know.
Okay.
And the thing is, well, it was 5 years ago, so we tried to find then a nice name, but you know, addict was taken already. Excess was also taken by some other companies, and we said, well, there is Acro. When you get Acro in France, so that means something, you know, you're Acro to something. It is huge, and we try to shrink it a bit with 4 letters, Acro, and I think everyone in the world now knows what Acro means, addiction. You are attracted by our fragrances. They are licit, they are legal, and you can use them. I mean, as soon as you want to enjoy life and to please yourself.
So we should give the names of the other people in the group. So your daughter, you said, is Anaïs, and her husband is Jack.
Jack, exactly. Jack is English, and
Right.
she was born also in Cannes, and now they left England and they live in Cannes.
Oh, very nice. So we're not jealous. We're not jealous of their weather at all. So I presume that for most of your career, you have, when you've created all of these perfumes, you know, like for Dolce & Gabbana and Dior and et cetera, that you have worked through an evaluator. But I suppose on this project, there was no evaluator, or am I wrong?
Yeah, you're totally right. It's in fact the task master was my daughter. In fact, because she was hard. She was a bit pushy. She was let's say saying, okay, Dad, you show me some ideas, some experiments, but don't forget, we want in terms of quality wise, we want some angel, you see, and you have to reach on the 6 fragrances the level of angel. And I said to her, let's say if we have one good fragrance already at the level of Angel, we will be extremely satisfied. And I started working on Haze because most of the fragrances took me, let's say, between 2 years, 1 year and a half. But the cannabis Haze, I got it, I would say, rapidly. It took me, let's say, 1 year. But I did lots of experiments, and I was a bit stressed because Haze wasn't easy. But I mean, the result is really good because what I achieved is really nice. Haze is one of our best hero fragrance. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I heard every single thing you said. I suppose you can still hear me.
Yeah. I still hear you. No problem.
Okay, that's great because I think I vanished for a little bit, but I could still hear everything that you said. So and
I was
okay.
saying that
No,
Haze,
I heard, and everybody else heard. I'm just going to keep going and hope that the technology doesn't mess up. But actually, you know, it's interesting that your daughter said that she wanted you to reach the level of Angel, because there are lots of points of similarity between this idea and the idea of Angel being addictive and figurative and huge and a very clear, direct idea. Something like Angel actually could have fitted in this collection quite well, I think. No?
Yeah. It's a very smart question. Indeed. Well, in fact, I think one of the first great fragrance in the niche fragrance is probably Angel. And
Right.
Angel was totally new in terms of creativity. It was new because I opened the Gourmand family. And it was, even if I'm staying humble, it's the reality. It's the new Gourmand family. It was created in '92, but the way I created the fragrance, the way I was daring, I took a lot of risk as well, and the way also it was Vera Struby and Thierry Mugler. They decided to launch it, let's say, in 50 to 60 stores in every great country, strategic country like in the States. And they said, okay, we're going to open in few stores, few doors, but we want to be number one. And it was clear they became, let's say, number one after 3 years among
Right.
other fragrances. And in order to create, the addiction, the pleasure, the addiction, the teasing, even,
Yeah, which you can totally see with all 6 of these here. Now, with these ones, I'm very curious. I suppose maybe it depends on each individual one. But as you were making them and as you were working with your evaluator daughter, was she mostly telling you to kind of go down and make them quieter, or wasn't she mostly saying to you, no, come on, Papa, more, up, you know?
in fact, Darius, the first step is to get the accord. You see,
Okay.
if we go back to the cannabis, I wanted to be as close as
I'm
possible.
going to spray it now, actually, while you're talking. So that's Haze, which is supposed to
Yes.
make us think of cannabis. Yeah, go on.
Yes. So I tried, to blend some nice ingredients which are close to cannabis. I didn't use any CBD. The ingredients I'm using are totally legal. For example, I've been using some wormwood, some artemisia, some eucalyptus buds in order to give that sweaty smell, and a very nice, very rare mint called spicata, mint spicata. It smells as such, it smells already cannabis. And with it's the fragrance, the formula is totally loaded by clary sage. So I try to be as close as possible to the cannabis bar, and then I try to make it wearable, for women and for men, with strength and diffusion. So idea is the creation, the creative idea is very important. But then the style is also key, because I need to make it wearable with sillage, with best ingredients.
Yes. So,
in order.
and what does that mean on a technical level to make it wearable? Does that mean, for example, that then you need to start thinking about musks, or what does it mean?
That means in fact I need a little bit to round up the fragrance, because we want to sell it, for let's say 2% of the population, which is already a lot versus the 98 normal consumers. But nevertheless, it needs to be well dressed up, you see, wearable, with lots of pleasure. People wearing my fragrances, they get some compliments and they come back, you see, because they receive some compliments, and they feel very comfortable also with the fragrances, because no one else in the world have that kind of profile fragrances.
And what's the reaction been like to Haze? Because to my nose, I don't know if you will agree, but Haze really is like a kind of aromatic green fragrance. And
I think
those green perfumes can sometimes be quite difficult to sell, right? What's the reaction been to it?
Well, in fact, Darius, it's with Haze and smoke, we have two aromatics, and it's not too green. It's the eucalyptus buds, which makes it very aromatic, rare, I would say. Of course, when you smell it, you think, it's quite strange, but then you smell it again. It's like a song, when you hear it the first time, well, you don't know if you like it or if you dislike it, but at the end, after let's say a few hours or a few days, you come back and saying, okay, well, I like it, and then starts the addiction.
So do you like doing this through your perfumery? Do you almost like kind of playing with the consumer a little bit, like seeing how deep you can pull them?
Well, in fact, what I'm creating, I want that the consumers are perceiving exactly what I did. And I try to stay logic, figurative, with very few facets. And when they read, on Instagram or on Google, what facets I've been using, well, as soon as they spray my creations, they will notice, and they will see the differences between freshness, between aromatic, between woods or spices. And when they recognize, when they say, well, it's fresh, it's aromatic, lavender or whatever, well, I'm smiling and I'm extremely pleased, because I achieved exactly what I want.
Clarity. I'm going to take a question from the audience. Do start sending them in, folks. And like I said, it's always nice to know where you're watching from, because this is a question about night, which is one of my favorites from this range. The question is from Eric, who says, I love night, Monsieur Cresp, and it reminded me slightly of your reformulation of Femme de Rochasse. Was that intentional, or was it just because of the hint of cumin?
Well, no, I didn't think at all about Femme de Rochasse. The only common ingredient for sure is the cumin. Cumin in this one, in night, brings the sweat element. It is,
and it really does in this case.
Yes, in fact, it's a beautiful. The idea was to work on a beautiful clean rose loaded with aldehydes, but suddenly you shift really quickly to something very naughty, to something very animalic, with cumin, with agarwood, also a very good quality of agarwood, which is fascinating, very, very mysterious. Also the agarwood, very sensual and sexy. And then you have, let's say you have some saffron, you have the musk, you have the cumin. It's a very short formula, but to from clean it becomes not clean at all.
Yeah,
but in
a wonderful way.
Yes,
in a really great way. Yeah.
Way.
Now I have to ask you. Go on. Go on.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt you, but I have to say in some countries like Middle East, where we have to be careful, and instead of saying, you know, it's sex and only sex, no, we are saying it's, you know, loaded with rose. Rose is romantic, is the
Right.
flower of love, and so on. And it works also very well because people are really attracted by the smell, especially women. You know, I tell you a nice tip. You know, when
Go on.
when I was launching when we were launching, you know, more than 3 years ago in France among 40 French journalists, among the 6 fragrances, they said, "Wow, your fragrances are amazing. We don't want to compare your fragrances against the competition, of course, because they like also the competition, and this is very fair. But they said, I mean, you are really breaking the rules." And among the 6 fragrances, they said the best one overall is Night. You know, so I noticed that 100% of the women, they were really in love of Night.
Fascinating. I have to show you this comment, Olivier. This is from a viewer called Yura saying, "Of course, people never have sex in Saudi Arabia."
Of course.
No. Now I have to ask you about smoke, because even though I love Night, my favorite is smoke. It had a very, very, very powerful and very personal effect on me. So I
Yes.
would just love to know more about the tobacco accord in smoke. Is it some particular type of tobacco, or, you know, what were you specifically trying to create here?
First of all, I would like to tell you also another story because it's,
Yes,
I mean,
go for it.
it's my you know, you know my not style, but the way I've been working on the fragrances. You know, it's loaded also of nice true stories. In fact, I'm not smoking at all, but Anaïs and her brother Sebastian, they are hard, you know, smokers. You see, and I started to work on a kind of tobacco. Like Amsterdamer, you know, because I have some good memories of Amsterdamer. People around me were smoking some nice tobacco Amsterdamer. But what I dislike in the Amsterdamer, it's the honey part. So I try to make something close by nose, starting on Balkans tobacco. But the thing is, every time my son said to me, you know, Dad, you are not ready. You are missing something. And I said, what? Tell me. He said, no, but you miss something essential. You don't understand. And I said, what? And he said, it's smoke. The smoke, you know, is so important. And smoke, I got it with birch, with cade, and it worked very well with tobacco. And then it's the tonka beans also is very nice in the dry down of the fragrance. In fact, I'm using like 1,500 ingredients in my palette, and in order to tell a story, like a writer will do writing a book, I'm trying to fix some colors together in order to reproduce the smell I want. If I'm clear enough.
Yes, absolutely. No, absolutely. But it's fascinating that it's really interesting that you're saying that you didn't want the honey note, because I think one of the things I like about this, apart from the fact that it really had a powerful effect on me, bringing back some memories.
Yes.
But I also love the fact that it's not sweet. And I think it's so unusual now to find perfumes which are really dry. I don't think we appreciate dryness maybe as much as we used to in the past.
And also, I learned also over the years that honey is not well appreciated in the world in terms of, you know, when the consumers, women and men, are smelling it, they dislike they reject even the honey. I don't know why, but I didn't want to take too many risks. But the thing is, among the 6 fragrances, smoke is really very powerful, you know.
Yes.
You can use few drops and you keep them, let's say, 2 days, even after 3 showers.
You're right. No, I would agree. But you know, you're saying you didn't want to take too many risks. Some people would say that this is quite a risky composition. they are so uncompromising in a way and so direct.
Yes, it's true. But in fact, I take lots of risk, but sometimes minimum risk because I know that the honey that doesn't go on really well. But for sure, with my collection of fragrances, I was so happy because I dared a lot. Daring is very important. Taking some risk, that's something I cannot do on the fine fragrances fields because we want to be successful all over the world. Here,
Yeah.
I can say, okay, I'm not going to sell, let's say, millions of bottles, but the thing is, already we are extremely satisfied with what we are selling because we get some strong orders.
Are you available? Is Acro available in a lot of countries around the world at the moment?
Yes, we are. We are in North America. We are in Europe, in Russia, Ukraine, China soon.
Gosh, okay,
On
quite.
on the internet, the first.
I
UK,
would say. I mean,
we are.
I put the website there. I know that Acro do a really excellent discovery set, so I would absolutely. I know that a lot of people have already gone to the website to order the discovery set. It's a really good one because you get all of them in the nice tin, and I was very, very excited when I tried them. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I said that publicly as soon as I tried them. One question that came from in advance was from a follower, a viewer called Otis, who said, when do you know that your fragrance is finished and that there is nothing more to change or add?
Yeah, it's also a very good question. In fact, it's a never-ending story. But the thing is, at one stage, at one time, we need to stop, because we are saying, in fact, we are guided by the time, saying, okay, let's say in next year, we want to launch a new fragrance, which is the case. It will be our 7th fragrance. But in order to be prepared to, let's say, order the ingredients, go to the co-packer, then send the let's say the bottles all over the world, it's going to take time, and we have to be ready, let's say 1 year in advance, 1 year before, and
Right.
And at one time I need to say, well, sometimes it's a pity because I enjoy so much making some experiments, improving, reducing that patchouli, adding more vetiver and so on, very, very precisely. But one day you say, okay, it's over. It's like Angel. I've done 600 experiments, and the 601 was the best, but I could have go on, let's say, 10 more experiments of 20, and among them I would have maybe created something even better. But I mean, as soon as you are sure and you are secured about yourself, and you know that you get some compliments, you say, that's it, I stop. And then
you mentioned next
go
year,
on.
so I have to ask you, maybe you won't tell us, but Virginie is saying, what's the 7th one going to be about? Are you going to tell us?
Yeah, you have to be patient and wait until next year. It's very soon, maybe January or February. It will be also launched all over the world. And it, to my opinion, because I tried it, and Haze and Jack, they tried it also in the south of France. We've got already some comments among friends. I showed it to some perfumers, also some specialists, and wow, they say, I mean, the 7th one is even the best one overall.
We're going to be very, very curious. Now, you just mentioned now other perfumers, other experts. In your career, I've noticed going through the list of the perfumes you've made, there are quite a lot that you have made with Jacques Cavalier. Do you miss working with him now that he is exclusive to LV? Do you miss working with him?
Well, for sure. For sure, because Jacques is, first of all, is a good friend. He's part of my family. We have been working, let's say, 25 years together. We started to work at Quest. Then he went first at Firmenich. I went to Firmenich as well. I followed him. He was master perfumer. I became master perfumer. But he wanted in 2011 to take another route and work for as a house perfumer, work for LVMH, which is a prestigious company, and he made certainly a good choice. But for sure, we missed each other because he has, he is really talented. He has good ideas as well. And I mean, when you talk to someone who's about your strengths, I mean, it's really rare, and he's among the few talented perfumers I know. I can say also Alberto Morillas, which is also still working with the company based in Geneva. He's also a good friend of mine, and we have done also together some nice fragrances for sure.
Absolutely. And when you work with somebody like Olivier, go on. No, you carry on.
Oh, I want to say, yes, I wanted to say, Darius, also, 30 years ago, we were quite alone. The perfumers, they were working at the shadow, closing their offices. Today, the world has changed, and we are working, and we are inviting the new generation to work with us, with the 40 years old, with the senior perfumers, which have more experience. And it's not rare to see that you have 4 perfumers sharing one idea. It's because sometimes it's the perfumer himself who's asking it. Sometimes it's the client, and sometimes if we want to make a success in China, it's a market that we are discovering. We are not experts, so we need some local perfumers, or like in the States. I don't live any longer in the States, and the market is moving rapidly. So we need also some close fellow perfumers. They are more experienced than us on their local market. So it's a nice melting pot of ideas, and it pays off, because it's less stress as well to work with 2 or 3 perfumers. Yes, not on all the fragrances, but in some.
Do you find that the really, really young generation of perfumers coming into the business now are a different type of person compared to you and your colleagues, or not really? Does it, what are they like? Are they different, the same?
Well, they are intelligent. They are passionate. They are yes, they have the passion. The thing is, they are maybe because they went to some special schools. We have 3 schools in France, and probably they learned more than us, than my generation, to work quickly with let's say a cluster of perfumers, a small group, and it's nice. It's nice working at 2 or 3, working with women. I love to work with women as well,
right?
Because they have a sensibility totally different, and it's nice to mix experiences, and to work also with foreigners also, because they learn from us, but we learn also from them.
And bringing all of those different olfactory experiences. So this is a good point to kind of go to Japan, because I would love to hear you talk about this for a few minutes. This is one of my favorites of yours that you ever made. This, for anybody who doesn't know, this is Kenzo Jungle Pour Homme, which is getting harder to find, if not impossible to find now. Can you remember what was the brief for this?
Well, the brief, it was maybe easier, let's say 20 years ago, because I was called by either the CEO of the company or by the designer, Kenzo Tagada, who used to be a very good friend of mine. And they wanted, in fact, the CEO of the company, Pierre Brault, who passed away recently, and Takada Kenzo also passed away.
Yes.
In fact, they wanted to. I don't know why they had an idea of bringing the forest in the city. The brief was that it's the forest into the city, into a huge city. That was the brief, and I don't know why, but I started, to combine ingredients that I loved. You see, like cedar wood, and with spices like cinnamon and cardamom, and with freshness, freshness from south cities like Cannes, where you can smell some orange blossom and so on. And I mean, it was very simple, and the fragrance itself has few facets. It's woody, it's spicy, it's fresh, and that's it. And it was really a successful fragrance, but it's no. I think it's selling still but very hard to get on the counters.
You make it sound so easy. It's like you say, "Oh, it's woody, it's fresh, it's spicy," and it's but I don't know any other woody, fresh, spicy perfume that smells like this one. I mean, what did it take a long time to make? Did the brand? Because I think also you must have worked with, was it Céline Verleur at the time, maybe?
Yes, Céline also. Céline, she was the marketing manager working with Pierre Brault, and she was also involved. And in fact, we were smelling on skin our experiments. Céline, by the way, she told me to use some mate in order to mix the bergamot with the tea to get something more Japanese, like a green tea.
Right.
And you see, things should be done simply, easily. When it gets too complicated, then it's a mess, and it doesn't work. You see, simplicity is key.
When I talk to some perfumers, especially perfumers with this sort of career and experience that you have, I'm still so amazed that you can just sit and just talk about the materials and the formula in perfumes that you made a long time ago. Have you always had a good memory?
Well, I try to still get a good memory. I try to recognize the most of the ingredients, the molecules as well. But yeah, maybe today you have too many fragrances on the market, like 2,500. So it's very hard to recognize them all. It's like the niche fragrances. You have too many. So too many, and I have to say some of them are really, really interesting. But I remember in the 80s, 90s, we had probably about 300 fragrances, men's and women fragrances, launched on the French market, and it was a game for us, for perfumers, going in the subway, going out on the street, and trying to recognize them, and even Darius, I was, my lab was the tube, was the subway, because I wanted to smell in the wagon. I wanted to smell what the people were wearing. They go in the morning at their office, and I wanted, to understand at least the French taste, because every year you get the new trends, you see, and it's very important to perceive and to feel what's going to be the next trends as well.
That's fascinating. Now, one question that's just come up here from Eric, and also a question that somebody asked before,
yes.
was about reformulation. And normally, how does reformulation work? For example, Frank, who I sent his question, wanted to know, usually with a reformulation, is it the original perfumer who does the reformulation? So if one day, Angel had to be reformulated, would they come to you first?
Well, yes, they come to the perfumer. It's simpler. But I remember once it was François Machy gave me a good solution, a good example, because I said to him, it was years ago. I said to him, but what do you do with Chanel 5, which is really a huge opus, timeless fragrance? And I said, it has some castoreum, some civet, some animalic notes. What do you do? And he said, "Oh well, I withdraw them totally." And I said, "Well, but you have a big hole, you see, because it's not going to smell the same." He said, "Oh yeah, you are totally right. You know what I do? I use more quality. I use more rose, more jasmine, in order, to make the fragrance even richer, even more feminine. And the consumers, maybe they will notice the differences, that they will say, oh, well, it's even better." So that's what I intend to do. As soon as I have to reformulate few fragrances per year, like we did, by the way, on our fragrances on night. We have been, withdrawing a molecule, replaced by something else, which is even more expensive, and
Right.
no one sees the difference. Even experts, they won't notice. You see, so if you do it properly, if you do it smartly, without also with always saying the truth, then it's paying off for sure.
Right. Right. Out of the 6 Acro fragrances, which is the one that you think is the most misunderstood at the moment? The one that you wish more people would discover or go to?
It's a good question. I would say probably it's night. It's night
Ah,
because
okay.
yeah. It's because in some countries it's extremely well appreciated. In some others, people are a bit lost because they don't understand the rose, the cumin note. But we have to explain again. It's like. One day I've done also a great fragrance for fine fragrances. It was Gloria from Cacharel, and the
Yeah.
fragrance itself is amazing. I still have on Instagram people on LinkedIn saying, "Well, can you compound it again for us, or can you work on something else?" Because we still love that big vanilla. It's gorgeous, and in fact, it wasn't. Sometimes it's not a problem of fragrances itself. It's more related with the commercials, the price, also
Yeah.
and in that case for Gloria Cacharel, in fact, the bottle was nice. They've also launched the ancillaries, and it was
Mm.
complicated to make some differences between ancillaries bottles and with the body mist and the fragrance itself, and also the print, also the print name Gloria wasn't mentioned. So maybe the weakness were there, but
All those
I
other
still have,
factors. Yeah.
yeah, I still have some regret about Gloria, which was gorgeous. And night we're going um, to educate more the boutiques in order to sell
That
it
sounds good.
better.
We're running out of time, and there's a few questions I want to give you. We have to talk a little bit about this one again, and I'm going to take the question from that Angela sent. She wants to know, when you actually created Angel with, you've already said, with Vera Struby and Mugler, did
Yes.
you know that it was going to change things forever?
Yes, I knew
You
it.
did.
I knew it. I tell you, and I don't want to be proud, but when I was creating the fragrance, my wife, for example, because it was so secret, she was wearing some experiments of Angel, and she was stopped everywhere in the lift. Even one day. We had some people knocking at the door in our flat. It was 9 o'clock at night, and they were saying, "Sorry, but there is a smell in the corridor, in the lift," and it's a true story, Darius. And they say, "Oh well, well, probably you bought it in the States. Is it available?" And it was so, people were addicted. They wanted
Yeah.
to buy it. And yes, as soon as you have some compliments. It could be the taxi driver. It could be when you buy your bread in the bakery in the morning. You don't need thousands of compliments, but when you have 2-3 people in the day saying to you, it's so different. It's so nice.
Mm.
Like actually, I'm creating a kind of orange blossom for a brand. And every time my wife wears it, it's in the south of France. And, and there is a girl, by the way, she sells some fruits, orange, lemon. And she said, well, I know I notice you are coming because I smell it from 10 meters what you are wearing, you see. So
then
then you know, as soon as you
something's
know,
good, yeah.
you get more confidence, and
Right.
that's the right word.
Absolutely. I'm going to give the last question to a viewer who's asked it because I think it's a good one. But before I ask that final question, I just need to say a huge thank you for giving up your time and giving up your Friday evening to talk to us. Congratulations on the Acro range. Those of you watching, please go to persolaise.com if you're based in the UK for a little giveaway where you can have a chance to win a full bottle of Acro. Please keep in touch with us, Olivier. We will all be dying to find out what the 7th edition is going to be. But before we go, one last question to Sam, who says, Monsieur Cresp, if you could change one thing about the fragrance industry, what would it be?
It's a very good question. It's the ending question, in fact. I would suggest to our clients and our distributors to launch less fragrances. You see, to go back instead of launching, let's say, the newcomers every time, every week, some the flankers, some limited editions. They should take more risk and launch some pillars, masculine pillars, then feminine pillars in every brand, taking more risk, and then we would go back like 20 years ago with maybe 300 launches, and it's more than enough, you know. And that's it. So narrow down a little bit the launches, the feminine and masculine launches. Yes.
Slow down and take your time is usually good advice, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Olivier. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and stay tuned for hopefully more interviews and more reviews on persolaise.com. Goodbye. Good night to you, Olivier.
Thank you, Darius. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thanks to the followers, which are also sharing a passion. We are all sharing a great passion, loving and creating fragrances. Thank you, Darius.